Hello guys, today I will talk about admin panel package for Laravel called Filament. But I will not just review it, but instead I will show you a real demo project that I've created for myself. So historically I had a project, Laravel project, for saving inspirational notes and quotes from online on Twitter or elsewhere. So this is the database of notes that I've saved. It's a Laravel project but without any admin panel. So there are notes, there are tags, and there's many-to-many relationships between those. For that, I've created Laravel project and I've used a combination of Evernote and Zapier. So I saved the note in Evernote and then Zapier would transfer it to the project, and Laravel project had a callback to accept that. And I decided to build an admin panel because I've reached the limit of free plan on Zapier, which is 100 zaps per month. And I decided to use Filament for that. For those who think it's ironic that I use someone else's package Filament instead of our own quick admin panel, there's a fundamental difference. Filament uses existing database, existing project, and creates admin panel on top, but you have to have existing eloquent models, database structure, and all of that. Quick admin panel has a different purpose of starting from scratch and generating everything for you, so you don't have any code prepared at all. It will generate models, migrations, and all of that for you. So different purposes, although it seems to do similar jobs, so I will cover quick admin panel in some other demo projects. But for this case, I will use Filament, so we will get from the database here to admin panel like this one. So I have the list of nodes, and I can create a new node, then I can attach a tag for it in the table below, so I can click attach, search for tag by tag name, for example content, then I can attach, or I can detach the tag with many-to-many relationship and then delete the node itself. So we're back to the table. So how to generate all of that in roughly 10 to 15 minutes, let me show you step by step. And this will be the beginning of a global idea that I want to create a course on Filament. I realize that this package becomes really popular in Laravel community, but its documentation is super huge, super well written by the way. But it's a lot to cover even in this video, so I touch only the basics of how to create that admin panel, but there's so much more to learn and to try and to explain. So I want to create a course on that. So based on this video that you will watch, prepare your questions, maybe at the end of this video or even during this video, shoot in the comments below. What should I explain about Filament or admin panels in general? What features, what questions you have for my upcoming course? And now let's dive into creating admin panel with Filament. So we start by going into installation page of Filament. Here are the requirements which our project meets successfully, and we do composer require, just like any other Laravel package. Composer require, then some information about upgrading, we don't need it at the moment, and then we need to create Filament User. So even before creating the Filament User, we already can access the panel by doing project test/admin, which should redirect us to the login form, but we don't have the user to log in with. And let's create a user. It will actually land in the user's database table like any Laravel user. So we can run PHP artisan, make Filament User, and then it will ask for a name, for example, Povilas, email address, povilas@laraveldaily.com, password, something, starting the repo, no at the moment. And now let's try to log in. So I log in with povilas@laraveldaily.com, password, and I'm logged in to the Filament. So we have our admin panel created without any menu items, without any data management yet, and we will create that in a minute. But for now, what you need to know is you generate the user who would access your panel. As you can see, the new user entry is here. If you think that it's not secure enough to allow any user to access the panel, you're absolutely right. And for that, Filament has an interesting solution. So in the section of documentation users and then authorizing access to the admin panel, here's the logic. By default, locally, any user would be able to access the admin panel. But on non-local environments, your user model has to implement a few things. First, it needs to implement the Filament User. Otherwise, no user would be allowed to log in. Well, they would be able to log in, but they would get 403 forbidden pages. And you have to implement your own logic, can access Filament. For example, in this case, the email is with some domain or something. You may add your own role system or something. but this is just a general example of can access Filament when you upload your project to the live server. But I'm not going to do it in this video because I'm working on my local server, so I don't need that. Let's get to resources. The whole basis, the whole core of this admin panel system is resources. So every Eloquent model should become a resource. Getting started with resources is actually to make a resource, and let's do exactly that. So we need to manage nodes, right? So then we run PHP artisan make filament resource like this, and let's call the resource node, singular from our model. Successfully created, and let's look at the files. As you can see, we have a folder app filament resources and one resource. So node resource is the main file of the resource, and then there's a subfolder of node resource pages. Each page is responsible for like list, create or edit form. And let's actually refresh our page and see if it's visible already without any customization. We refresh and we do have nodes here. And if we click, we do have some table, but the table is empty because we haven't customized it. We haven't specified which field to show, what should be shown on the form. For example, there is a new node page, but it's empty. We don't have any fields. So next, let's customize the table and the forms. For that, in most cases, you don't need to edit the individual pages like create node or edit node or list. Those are for deeper customizations, and the main customizations are in the resource. So there is a method called form where you define the form fields, and there's a method called table where you define the columns and filters. And both of those methods actually refer to sub-packages of the filament, so there's a separately table builder package and form builder package, which are installed automatically with the installation of the full filament. So if we look at the documentation, even on the top left corner, there's admin panel and there's form builder and table builder. For example, let's go to table builder and let's see how we can customize what columns to show. If we scroll down the left, columns, getting started, and then we scroll down and find this syntax, text column, make title. Let's do exactly that. So in the table method, in the columns array, we need to add elements of what columns to show, and let's paste it here, and text column should be auto-completed from something, text column filament, make title, what is the actual name in the database. So we have the nodes and node text, so node text, and let's also show the ID field because we will order by that automatically. So duplicate ID, and that's it. Let's refresh the page and see what happens. So we have our nodes table. And yes, we do have our nodes with two fields, ID and node text. It's as simple as that. A few things I would like to customize for this table. First, the node text is too long, so I would like to limit that to some characters. And to do that, it's very easy actually. For any column, you can define limit and the amount of characters. For example, 100 characters, we refresh, and as you can see, it's already fitting in with edit being visible. Also, let's make sorting by ID descending, so the newest nodes would be on top. And for that, first you can make the column sortable like this. And then for the column, you need to define the default sort. So between the columns and filters, we have default sort, column and direction. So column ID, direction descending. Refresh, and we have automatic sorting by ID, but we can click and then click back and then click back and sort however we want. Final thing for the table is pagination. I don't like the pagination by 10 by default, and there are options, but let's override those options and provide only one option of 100 items per page and make it a default one. To do that, that's the first time we need to go into the specific page. So list nodes, which is in pages list node, it extends list records, and list records has a method that we can override. It is a protected method called get table records per page select options, and it should return the array return. For example, you can do 10, 25, stuff like that, but let's do 100, and that's it. And if we refresh the page, we refresh. Oh, of course, I forgot to return the array here. It's pretty strict here with latest PHP versions, and it is advised to provide the return type for each methods. Now we refresh, and it is working. So 100 nodes per page, and there's only one option for that. So we're good with the table. Now the form. As I've shown you previously, the form already works, but it doesn't have any columns. So we need to define the columns in the main resource file in here. And also we need to go to the documentation of the form builder and see what columns are available there. So we go to form builder and scroll down to the fields with getting started. And if we scroll down, we probably should see text input. So this is one of the options, but in this case, I want not the text input, but text area. And I find text area here. And I copy text area make to here. Text area also should be auto-completed from the vendor. So text area make, instead of description, what is the column name? Node text. Good, node text. And for now, let's save just that. Also, we will get into many-to-many relationship with tags in a minute. But for now, let's try to save just the node text. We'll refresh the page and we have our node text. We do ABC, create, and the way how Filament works by default, after creation, it redirects to the edit page automatically. So to get back to the list, you need to click the nodes here on the left. Then you can go to edit, and then you can edit the record, save, and it stays on the edit page, and then you get back to the list. So now our form works just like that. You just need to provide the columns. If you want to delete the record, it also works by default. So one way is to go to the edit page and then delete, of course with confirmation, or you can do in the table, you can tick the checkbox here, and then here you see a drop down for delete selected, for example. Confirm, and we have our record deleted. Now let's take care of the relationships of adding tags to the nodes. In the documentation, we find a section called Relations, and it's a pretty complex feature, but I will show you just a simple example. Relations is for creating and attaching the related records without leaving the resources edit page. So it will appear on the edit page. First, you need to create so-called relation manager. And there are a few types of relation managers depending on the type of relationships you need. So in our case, it's many-to-many. So we need to scroll down and find that many-to-many examples. So it belongs to many or morph to many, and we need exactly that. So we need to provide the resource name of that, and then the related model and the field to search for. For example, PHP Artisan make filament belongs to many. We have node resource, which should be related to tag, or tags in our case, the relationship name, and tags have a column name. Let me check. It's called name. So name will be something to search for. So we've created the relation manager, and we need to add that in the node resource get relations. So we get back to our resource, and get relations is here. We need to fill that in by just providing the class tag relation manager class like this. And if we go to that tags relation manager, what do we see inside? We also have the table and the form, and let's fill it with tags form with one field of tag name. So in the form, that will be another kind of a practice of form. So for form, we have text input, make, name of the tag, right? And for the columns, we don't need any filters in the table. We just need text column, make, name, like this. And let's refresh our page. If we refresh the table, nothing really changes. If we go to new node, nothing really changes, because relations start working only when editing the form. I'm not sure I'm a big fan of this solution, but let me show you how it works. So for example, you add a node, you click create, you land on the edit page, and then on the edit page, you can attach the tags. So for example, you can click attach and search for tag by name. For example, I have a tag called content, and it is not found because I haven't defined the relation of tag nodes. So there should be relation the other way around, not just node tag. So in the node model here, I have tags, but in the tag, I don't have the other way around. So public function nodes return this belongs to many node class like this. And then if I go back to the table and then click edit again, attach, and let's try it again, content, and it is found the content. Then I click attach, and it appears in the table. So remember, in the relation manager in here, we defined the table and defined the form. So this is exactly what is happening here. and I can detach and delete. And this is a difference. Detach is just detaching the tag from specific node, and delete means deleting the tag itself. And you can also create a tag on the fly, for example, ABCD tag, create, and it's also attached automatically. So in the database table, we have a new record here. And let's try to delete that. Delete. Are you sure you would want to do that? Yes, confirm. Right, so the foreign keys don't allow to delete automatically. Probably that's a good thing, so someone wouldn't just delete the relationship. So let's first detach it, confirm, and then if we had the tags resource here separately, we would be able to delete it from there. So this is how Filament works in general, with a very simple example, but really practical example, because I will be using it myself for managing my notes instead of Evernote and Zapier. So for very simple database table, I've created admin panel like in 10 minutes or so. But of course, for more complex project, it gets much deeper, and of course the documentation is really good, but really deep. So it's almost like a huge book in itself with a lot of sections, and that's just admin panel, and then there's form builder and table builder. So I'm planning to create a course about that. Not sure whether it will be one bigger project with Filament or a few smaller projects to showcase different behaviors of admin panel. So you can participate in that. Since I'm just at the idea stage of that course, if you have any questions or specific ideas, what should I cover, what subtopics, or what to emphasize in this course, or maybe you have experience with Filament and want to share, or maybe you already have experience with Filament and want to share it. So for any ideas, use the comment section below, and I will talk more about Filament both on this channel and as a separate course in upcoming month or so. And the best way to get into that course is to subscribe to yearly membership of my courses on LaravelDailyTeachable.com. I keep shooting new courses every month, so yearly membership is actually a great deal financially. That's it for this time, and see you guys in other videos.